Hello everyone, welcome to a new video where I'll be showcasing the Lightning Storm endgame build. This is final, I'm finally level 100 and I can showcase this build. I would like to thank everyone for showing the support that they have done in the last few weeks. My channel's blown up. I almost have 420 subscribers, which is amazing. So I would be thankful to everyone, and I know you want to get into the build, so I won't do anything further and I'll just showcase what I have right now. So first one for your item, for your main staff, it's gonna be Shepherds. You want this at 20% because you will have like 9 different companions, which will each give you 20% increased damage, which will mean 180% multiplicative damage. It's insane, and you want to get that on there. As for stats, all stats: willpower, damage to close, and damage to distant enemies. Why damage to close and distant enemies? Because you have a point in your Paragon Board, a legendary node, where you gain multiplicative damage equal to 20% of your damage versus close and damage to versus distant enemies, which means that all of that damage, what you get from your weapon, which can be twice 70%, which means you will get like a 30% multiplicative damage bonus just because of those two stats, and that's insane. So really get those stats on there. I do have a staff in my inventory, which I just need a good Shepherd's roll for getting that one, but for the showcase, this will do. Critical strike damage is a lot better than lightning critical strike damage, by the way, just because of your spirit boon scaling with critical strike damage and not lightning's critical strike damage. There is a difference, sadly. Okay, so furthermore, then the boots, which will get you with the Ghost Walker. You'll be spamming your Earthen Bulwark quite a lot, which means you'll be unstoppable quite a bit, and for 4 seconds after you will gain 25% movement speed. You'll be zooming through and being a lot different than the beginning druid, which has a lot of movement speed problems. Of course, you want movement speed on there. Also, after killing an elite, spirit cost reduction is very important. If you're struggling with spirit, get spirit cost reduction. Willpower is just a nice added bonus on there, but it doesn't really matter. For your evade charges, you would definitely want plus, or the evade change on your boots, you would definitely want plus evade charges, because we are running Juggernaut, which means that you are going to have 100% increased cooldown. If you have charges, you can at least still dash twice and dash in quite a long time. You will notice less that you have 100% increased downtime. So then for your pants, you would definitely want T-Bolt's Will. It synergizes so well with the build. As for any other pants, I would say maybe something with just a lot of damage reductions on there and like max health and total armor. That's just something you would want for your pants if you don't have T-Bolt's Will yet. Or just struggle with survivability, then it's also quite important. But T-Bolt's Will really synergizes well with your Earthen Bulwark, which you can just spam because of your symbiote. Well, I'll get into that later. Of course, you want a good roll on this, as much damage as you can, and just put some red gems there. So that's the first unique. The second unique is the Unsung Ascetics Rep, which is the new unique. That will just get you a lot of damage. They have critical strike chance, they have lucky hit chance, they have lightning storm plus on there, which is basically the 3 stats you want from a gloves anyway. Only sad thing is it doesn't have any attack speed, but that's fine. I don't really care too much about attack speed anyway. But you want as much critical strike chance and lucky hit chance on this one as well. So we get those critical strike damage. I can actually apply that as well. And additional lightning storm strikes. That's great. It's a great bonus. It's the best slot. You want this. And this drops from the ice boss if you're trying to farm it, and also you can just drop randomly from the random drop. So it's a random unique that could drop from any table. So then we have our chest piece, which will be willpower, damage reduction, and damage reduction while fortified. With Juggernaut. Juggernaut, as I said earlier, is very good because I don't have the max armor right now, but with the 5000 armor from there, I have the 85% damage reduction that can come from your armor, which is great, and it's always on. It's not like Disobedience that you need to stack it, and you could get one shot by something that hits you because you don't have your armor all the way up or stacked. So it's more consistent, which is why it's a bit better than Disobedience. The drawback from having the evade charges, from having the evade cooldown, is a bit settled with the evade charges. So if you're running Juggernaut, do notice that you need the evade charges. Then Symbiotic is the reason why we can run T-Bolt's Will without it being down for most of the time. We can actually get quite a good uptime on this, is because we have Symbiotic, which does take our key passive slot in there, but our Earthen Bulwark will get refreshed by 5 seconds each time we trigger it, which is like a 30% chance each time we cast Lightning Storm. And we'll be casting it quite a lot, which means we will get back our Earthen Bulwark, which keeps our damage up and movement speed up, and we'll be able to run around and do more again and again. It's a good, nice loop that goes in there. Great synergy with Thibault's Will and your Earthen Bulwark. Then for stats you would want there, total life, maximum life, total armor, maximum life, willpower, and cooldown reduction is something I would say. You could also opt in for like crowd control duration because you're immobilizing enemies a lot and stuff, but I would say cooldown reduction takes priority over something like healing received, which I have as a dump stat right now. Then for your amulet is the retaliation one that you will want 45% increased damage while you're fortified. On your Seneschal you will have some fortification. On your Earthen Bulwark you have fortification, which means you will be able to get that fortification up very quickly, and that'll be nice for you to get that retaliation uptime for 45% increased damage. As for stats, movement speed, very important. Spirit cost reduction is very nice if you have struggles with spirit. Now my lightning storm only costs 11 per strike, which is insane, compared to like I think the 16 base that it does. So that's quite a nice reduction you can, and I'm missing like 5%, so you can get that even more to like 10. And then other stats, instead of natural disaster I would say get envenom if you can, but the movement speed on there is very nice, maxed out, which is great. I'm zooming through the map. Then for your rings you want critical strike chance, lucky hit chance, and for the other stats it depends a little bit, but survivability I would say maximum life, and other than that definitely get damage to close and damage to the distant enemies because of your Paragon node getting it to multiplicative damage. Then as for the aspect on it, Stampede is your second most damaging aspect that you will get, or most bang for your buck I would say, because it does not just give you one additional companion, it gives you one additional companion per companion skill that you have, which means you will get 3 additional companions, which means that 60% multiplicative damage on top of there just for one aspect, which is crazy. And yeah, you get more companions with it. That's great. Then second ring, same as for the stats, critical strike chance, lucky hit chance, damage against close, damage against distant. And for this one you want Lightning Dancer. You definitely want Lightning damage Dancer. It's great for AoE damage. This is why our AoE damage is a lot better than our single target damage. It's just because we get 3 dancing bolts every time we crit. With almost a 50% critical strike chance, we're critting a lot. So there's a ton of dancing bolts just swarming around. And if there's a pack of enemies, they get hit by all of these. It's insane. Does a lot of damage. It's great. So definitely keep that one in. It's just a great bonus to your AoE damage. And nothing really hits as much as this. And your Paragon will also increase it a little bit with the... this one, dancing bolts, also it also scales from this one, so 260% damage increase, which is nice on your damage on your dancing bolts. Then quickly around the Seneschal, I wasn't sure, but maybe I'll cut this part out. I don't know, because my game crashed last time when I did this. But basically, flash of adrenaline, tactical support for more cooldown reduction, so it's up every 12 seconds, and then you want damage reduction. This doesn't really matter right now. Voluminous support is bad. I would actually want Genesis in there, so it has a 100% uptime. Then it's the other one, Tempest, which basically is the most the highest attack speed skill you want, and you want anything that really scales on that to support it. So you would count resource back, which is great for the resource regeneration. This is why I also don't really need a resource generator anymore. It's just because every second I get 16 resource back when I'm in fight. So that's more than enough resource on top of all the other resource generations that I already have. Like Earthen Bulwark, which gives me a 50 spirit. Then extra crit chance. Everything scales well with crit chance. We have 780 crit damage. So any crit chance is instant extra damage. And fortification. Our amulet scales with fortification. So we want extra ways to get fortified. So that's always great to have some extra fortification on there. We could also already get it from Earthen Bulwark, but I've noticed that if you only put Earthen Bulwark and don't put fortified support, so let's say you put attack speed on there, you wouldn't get it as consistently up as you could with the attack speed on there. So fortified is really important to get on there as well. Then spirit boons. You want to have your deer as your favorite boon, and I would say take and reduce damage from elites, very important for survivability. If you're struggling with spirit, you could save for this, but I would say you're probably going to be struggling with survivability more than you're going to be struggling with spirit. So yeah, spirit, just get the spirit cost reduction on these, your boots and your amulet. And with this and that, you should be fine. And also some Paragon stuff I'm going to talk about later. But that should be fine. 10% reduced damage for elite. That's good. 5% increased critical strike chance. As I said, crit strike chance, very important. Crit strike damage. Remember, this is critical strike damage. So if you would have a lightning critical strike damage on your weapon, this would not get 30% increase. So there is a very big distinction between critical strike damage and lightning critical strike damage. Do remember that. That's a big one. So always prefer critical strike damage above lightning critical strike damage, because you just get 30% more of it. And that goes for ridiculous stuff. I mean, I've 780% critical strike damage. That's just way too much. Anyway, energize just to get more spirit back. I don't have that much spirit struggles, but sometimes at bosses you can get a bit low in spirit. And since I don't have my spirit generator anymore, I think it's very important to have this one up in there as well, just to gain some extra spirit. And if my lightning storm does lucky hit on this, then I basically get a lightning storm for free. This is 11 per strike. Then there are two things here you could take. You could take Messagistic, which will heal you a lot. This is nice for survivability, but because I have an ultimate skill, I actually do Calm Before the Storm, which means my ultimate skill will come up a lot quicker, because you will trigger this quite a few times, making your ultimate skill cooldown reduced by quite a bit. So for skills, let's look at the skills for a second. Did change some stuff around, as you can see. My skill bar is quite a bit different than the usual. It is still Earth Spike with Enhanced Earth Spike, just to get 2 points in there. It doesn't matter here anymore. I don't use a resource generator anymore. I think it's way more than enough resource regeneration with the Earthen Bulwark and your Lightning Storm that you don't need a resource generator anymore. Then, of course, Lightning Storm with additional lightning. Nothing too special over there. Predator Instinct, quite nice. I don't take Wild Impulses anymore because it is bugged. It is an additive damage instead of multiplicative. So don't bother with the 4 points you need to put in there. Just don't take them out. I took them out. I took them out of my amulet as well, so it doesn't give any plus points to this anymore. Then Earthen Bulwark with the Fortify, standard stuff. So you just get a fortification bonus on there. This one doesn't do anything. Then extra non-physical damage resistance and 15% damage reduction when you get defensive skills for 6 seconds. You will have this up most of the time. As long as you're attacking and using your Earthen Bulwark, you'll have this up, which is great. Appointed to wolves, don't really care too much for the extra damage on the wolves. Even fortification doesn't really matter too much. I don't use the skill that often. It's just in my bar, so I get the damage. But yeah, you get 3 wolves, which is 60% damage. Nature's Reach, this is good. Increased damage to distant enemies. Poison Creeper, 20% increased crit chance against poisoned enemies. That's good. Enemies strangled by Poison Creeper. That's great, especially on bosses and stuff. Just extra damage. The Ravens, I do have the Brutal Ravens, which is insane, by the way. You gain 2 additional Ravens. I never knew. I used to have like this one with like Vulnerable. I was like, oh, I just put 2 points in there. But apparently so, this one will give you 2 additional Ravens, which counts for your Shepherd, which means 40% increased damage. Just by this one. 40% increased multiplicative damage just with this one. I never did this, but it's very good. Pick it. Standard stuff on the lightning stuff. You don't do this one because it's a random lightning bolt every 15 seconds. And these 3 are actually good. And Venom is still good. Critical strike damage increase, always good. Against poison enemies, Poison Creeper, or later your Lightning Storm through Paragon. Then I do use Petrify, which also gives you back a lot of spirit. Once you use Petrify, it starts killing any enemies. But also just the 30 or 50% increased critical strike damage is insane, which allow you to crit to 1 million or more if you have better gear than me. But I'm creating 1 millions with this on bosses, so that's great. This really does a lot of, helps you a lot to just do a lot of damage. Then Defiance, I have 2+ from my amulet, so that's where I gain. Or no, I have 3+ from the natural disaster, but Defiance I have 2+ from my Gauntlet. That's the unique gauntlet that gives 2+ on this one, but basically these will give you back a lot of life, and this will just do extra damage, which is nice. Then of course we need the Nature's Fury for our aspect, which will reduce the cooldown of Earthen Bulwark every time we cast our Lightning Storm. Remember, tap Lightning Storm, don't channel it the whole time. So if it's already max stacks, don't bother by channeling the whole time, just tap it. So this one can trigger, because channeling is counted as one cast, or maybe one cast every 2 seconds or something. But if you just tap it, it will be cast, and that will refresh your Earthen Bulwark very quickly. Okay, time to get into Paragon Board. Some people's favorite part. For me, it's alright. I was able to get, so just before, I was able to get all 70% on there, also with like a bit, so even if I, not really if I unequip a ring, but with the 10% on everything means that basically for every stat I have like the 70%, and it doesn't really matter what kind of secondary stats I get on a ring. Partly it's because of the Paragon Board and partly because of my stats. But do focus on getting 70% on everything, and of course max armor. So let's see. First one, vulnerable damage. Just good. Also, you get 3 seconds of vulnerability every time you damage an enemy. So that's also great. And most enemies die within 3 seconds anyway. Unless bosses, but you have other ways to stack vulnerable against them. And it's 50% vulnerable damage. That's great. Take both of the rare ones. You don't need this because it doesn't give any resistance. It just gives maximum life, which can be good. But we don't need that for now. I think 14k maximum life is more than enough. Then this one's very important. So the second the page is the ancestral guidance one, and very important with this one is the reclamation with the 2 magical nodes that give you spirit on kill. With this you will get 4 spirit on kill, which will be insane for your spirit generation. So that's very important that you get that one. Ancestral guidance also 30% increased damage for spending 75 spirit. You'll be doing this quite a lot anyway, so you'll be having this one up quite a lot through the dungeons. I do have so much spirit reduction right now that I trigger this less, which is a sad part, but I still cast way more than enough to have this one trigger quite a ton. So then we have the spiritual node we get, because it's just 28% core skill damage. That's very nice. And for the second one, we have spirit, which will give you critical strike damage, which will be increased by 30% because of your spirit boon, which is very important. Get the 2 especially resolve. That's very important that you get those one, because 6% damage, 6% resistance to all elements is very good. You don't need to do this at the beginning, because your critical strike critical strike damage might be a little bit lower. You could switch it out for this one and get the 20% on this one, but I would say just critical strike damage is always good. So do know that you can switch them around a little bit to get maybe this one just needs 40 willpower, but this one I actually have 39 of the dexterity, so actually picked some extra dexterity nodes just to get a little bit more dexterity in there for the crit damage. But for this one it doesn't really matter that much, because the dancing bolts already do a ton of damage. You like a clear tier 100, so that's already fine. Then Stormcaller and Hubris are just extra damage in there. Do get those when you get this one. For this tree or this page, it's called Thunderstruck, and it's very important. This is why you want close and distant damage on every piece of gear that you can get it on, because 20% of it will just be multiplicative damage bonus. I only have a 35%, but with the other stuff, I could think I could get to like 50% or something. So this is just very good, and this is why damage to close and damage to distant is just a very high tier stat on almost all your equipment. Is because of this passive, or Paragon passive. Then Tempest, just extra critical strike damage. I did reach all the way up in there, so this, you could say these extra points are debatable, but 30% is quite a bit. And also vulnerable damage, a nice additional bonus to it. So I picked these notes up as well. Then after doing this, I went down to this third page, which is the Constricting Tendrils. And with this page, I got the Glyph Territorial, which will give me extra damage to close enemies, which scales again with the legendary node Thunderstruck. So that's good. Get the nature damage and get the maximum life just for the willpower on there. Other than that, I needed to get these dexterity nodes anyway, so maximum life and some willpower on there is always good. Then I made my way up here, get the 6% to all elements. I think around this point I got to the 70% on everything, because I got a few of those 6% resistant to all elements nodes. You really want to get those, because Druid doesn't have a lot of those, and get those when you can. I didn't take this immediately. I actually went for the glyph first. So I did the human glyph, which will give you extra damage and damage reduction while you're in human form, which is basically permanently. We don't use the tempest roar in this build, so we're permanently in human form. Then get the damage, well, you get the damage reduction for poison enemies just as a nice bonus. And then I made my way back down here with the constricting tendrils, which will give you the ability to poison enemies with your nature magic skills, which is your lightning storm. So not only will you poison them with your poison creeper, but also a very consistent way with your lightning storm. Even though the chance is only 15%, you'll be doing this quite a bit. And then that also means that your envenom will work on your lightning strike as well without you using your poison creeper, which is great, extra damage. And that is it for the Paragon board. Oh wait, the names of the Paragon boards are the Heightened Malice is the last board. And for this one, I already said, is the Constricting Tendrils. So if you wanted to know what this board card is, the Heightened Malice, which could be good, arguably. So 45% increased damage is quite nice, especially against elites and stuff. But most of the time, I'm not struggling with damage with a lot of enemies. I'm struggling with damage against killing bosses really quickly. So I would say the Heightened Malice isn't really necessary. But you could try out to switch out some things, or maybe take one node less or something to maybe get in there and get the Heightened Malice, so you could get the 45% damage increase. But that's something you could play around with a little bit more. But for now, this is my setup and it's worked quite well. I haven't leveled up each and every one of them, but once I will, then I will showcase that some more. I think that's it for the build. I think I've showed the spirit boons, abilities, what I've changed in my ability slot with the petrify, and I will showcase a tier 100 nightmare dungeon or some random gameplay at the end, just for you guys to get a little bit of a grasp how fast this one clears bosses. Maybe some random clips I'll throw in there, like in the introduction, just so you can get a little bit of a grasp on how good this build actually is. That was it. It was a lot of fun, and I hope you guys enjoyed. The support has been amazing for these videos. I'm streaming right now and there's people watching me as well. Almost have 420 subscribers. That's amazing too. So thank you guys for watching and see you guys in the next video. I'm almost at 420 subscribers. I should have used my petrify there. Oh, the poison. Nice. Thanks, Daddy Diesel. No, wait. My butcher kill even. Oh no. I lost my butcher kill. Oh, no, I'm gonna get it from the stream. Once I end the stream, I'm gonna get my get back. I'll get it from the stream. I don't care that the quality is lower. I'll just get it back. I wanna get the butcher kill. The tier 100 butcher kill. I want that. It's on the stream anyway, so. But the quality will be lower. Once it's on I think it was to the left. Oh, that's really sad. And I did it by mistake as well. It was my own damn mistake. That's the worst part about it. Poison FX is what does it even mean? So many enemies, but oh, just died there. Okay, if we're not. Also, the funny thing, I just imagine, because there's no cooldown on your potions, right? I just imagine Druid just chugging a potion basically in hand all the time. And to go through the dungeon. Because I'm spamming my potion. I don't know what kind of instant slurp this guy got to get that potion. Of course I find the other thing quicker than McDonald. Or maybe he just like has drink hat, where you can drink from your hat. I remember those things. I used to have those at baseball hat with the two slurpy things. So you can just drink from your drink while you have the lid. That's nice. But I think those are somewhere within this bird mask. There's just a constant healing potion. I mean, they have magic. They can cast lightning storms. I'm pretty sure they can make it so that their lightning potion or the potion just instantly gets slurped. Really don't care about the guy laying there. Could not care less. Let's go to the boss. Bum bum. Bum bum. Let's see, 1 million plus. I'm just standing still. No, suppressor. Yeah. Oh, it's the butcher. Oh boy, oh boy, oh boy, oh boy. I don't think I can take that guy. Can we kite him around something here? I don't think kiting him around that would just work. Ooh, let's touch that one. Not really something I can kite him here. Let's see if I can. Oh! Let's not laugh too early. Oh, I can't crit him anymore. I've increased crit damage, but I can't crit him. Damn it. Oh boy. This is some Tom and Jerry ass shit. Did it last time as well, but whatever it takes. Whatever it takes. I ain't dying. All is fair in war. Get off me, crazy. Can't kill him, can't kill him. Shield. Is he running away? He's not running away. He's dying. Yeah! Killed the butcher. Fuck yeah. Tier 100, butcher kill. Okay, that's good.